show. It's meme day.
It's meme day.
So we're all dressed up like different memes. Like I'm the Ancient Aliens guy.
I'm gonna say Seth's kid.
I'm not dressed as anything. I just like to masturbate with these.
Ew!
I'm kidding. I'm confession.
That was a good confession, DJ.
Did you confess that you masturbate with those on? Those are mine, actually. So.
Isn't that what these are for?
On this show, we talk about Game of Thrones, the episode that aired last night, and we're going to go into heavy spoiler territory. So do not watch the show if you have not watched the episode, and we're going to jump right in.
Yes,
right,
we
Trisha?
certainly are. So we went to the Twitter space to find out what you guys had to say, and I just want to read a couple off in the beginning that are thoughts on the episode. At Iavari L, I'm sorry, I can't say your name, says, I thought it was the best episode in the whole series by far. Peter Dinklage is simply amazing. Hashtag TV show.
Man, I went to grab my glasses to adjust them instinctively, and there's nothing there.
They're not there. At J Makestad says, I think this episode proved DJ Talk's trash point this season is moving at a glacial pace.
You know what's funny?
Opposite opinions there, friends.
Can I pull a Steve and be like, I feel like this episode started to turn around for me a little bit. I still feel like there's moments where it feels like the show's stalling. Like the whole Theon thing. Did we need that to just end up exactly where we were at the beginning of that scene? Like there's been stuff this season that just feels like, oh hey, this character's here, but we're not ready to do anything with them yet, so we're just gonna like.
We're just gonna remind you.
There was a lot of stuff.
But
there was a lot of stuff in the beginning of the episode that felt like, all right, can we get to the trial already? But I think we needed.
You weren't into the Iron Bank stuff.
That stuff was fine. I mean, I liked seeing Bravos. I thought that was really cool. But I just feel like I almost forgot it was the trial episode. Like, until I was like, oh shit, we need to get to the trial. What's going on? I don't care about Theon.
Well, because they did what they've been doing a lot of times is they stop in with a bunch of different characters and then they give the last like 15 to 20 minutes to one storyline to really let it breathe.
That's true.
Which it's been an interesting, I think, experiment for this show.
I love it. I love this
because they did that with the the purple wedding. Joffrey dying.
Purple wedding.
And then with the assault on Craster's Keep and stuff like that, like the bigger storylines that give space to breathe. And I thought, like, even though I feel like there's a certain element of stalling, I feel like with Dany, like there's certain characters we know where they're supposed to end up. So when their journey to that gets stalled, it feels like we're just waiting. It's just to fill episode space.
Well, they did say for this season.
I personally thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting to see Dany actually rule. Would I have been okay with seeing that after she flip shit in King's Landing? Yeah, but like I think that's cool, and I thought the trial was very interesting.
But speaking of Dany, really quick, Trisha, we were talking about this before the show started, but so the scene with Dany and the dragon and the goats and the guy that's like, my goats, what will I do? And she's like, I'll give you $10 billion. I'm a good queen.
Is that how much?
And she
times what his goats are worth?
She basically,
$10
million.
well, the guy standing to her left, I forgot his name, gives her a look like, girl, we don't have that kind of money. What are you doing?
About Jorah or Arya?
The other guy.
Barristan.
The guy that's not the one that tried to poison her. But then, but apparently in the book, the bones that are brought to Dany are the bones of his son.
It's a child.
Of a child. And I don't get it, HBO. You show someone getting stabbed in the baby.
Oh, that's true.
Fully stabbed in the baby.
Stabbed in the baby.
And you're not gonna show a child's bones? Because you don't want Dany to look like a shithead right now?
Oh, I don't know about the not wanting Dany to look like a crap face.
Could you imagine, though, if that man brought the child's bones, the bones of a child, that would make Dany look like shit. It'd be like, oh man, you need to wrangle your dragons. They're killing babies.
Well, I think HBO's doing a pretty good job of making us question Dany. At Ox at the Disco says, Dany needs to look at her morals and how she wants to rule. She needs to listen to her advisors. We also have David Cooper at Cooper1214 says, I knew the actions of Dany would come back to bite her in the ass. Hashtag TV show.
Yeah, it's interesting that it was compelling when the other guy came in. Honestly, I thought each person that came in after the goat guy would have been more goat people. Like, hey, your dragons find our goats too. But I thought it was really interesting when he came in, he was like, listen, my dad was against that. Like, he didn't want the kids to be crucified.
Yeah.
And it's a good example of her having to realize, like, things aren't black and white.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, she's a kid,
Yeah.
and she's ruling, and she's like, I do this, and this is my decision, because I have power. Even though the advisor dude was like, I think we need to think about this before we actually do this. And yeah, she didn't listen, so now she's gonna have to start listening to her dudes a little more.
But I thought that scene played really well because she initially becomes defensive, like anybody who like tries to make a point and then has that point thrown in their face.
And she's like, no, my point was a good point.
But then she
She's
backs
a ruler,
down.
yeah.
She realizes like there's no and I also like it just says a lot about the culture these characters live in. And the guy's like, listen, my dad was against this. You murdered him, we'll move on, all right? And he doesn't even try to like.
No, it's not
he's
even
like,
the cult.
he's
I mean,
look, I know you're queen. I'm not going to even get on that.
that's
Just
the
let me
thing.
pull him down and bury him.
Yeah,
That's it.
There's nothing he can do about it. There's
Right.
nothing he can do. Like, he can tell her how upset he is, but there's not like he can be. It's not like he can be like, I'm gonna fucking kill you someday, or like I'm gonna get revenge. Like, he basically has to be like, sorry you killed my dad. Like,
By the way, you're really pretty. I liked that part.
Like, you have to. That's the. I mean, maybe that is.
And by the way, I think he'd be a much more compelling love interest than what's his face actor that changed. I don't like.
Darren Harris.
Even though I like the new guy better than the old guy.
The guy that
So
sounds
sorry,
like
I
you're
don't
clearing your
Darren.
throat.
So wait, so for you guys, now that we've kind of put a little complexity into Danny's storyline, does it make you more or less interested in that storyline?
It depends. If her storyline becomes a little more like King's Landing, where there's like a lot of compelling dynamics, then yes. I just don't like. I've been trained by prestige television that I don't need to have it feel like it's stalling. You know what I mean? There are very few episodes of Breaking Bad that felt like it was stalling. And I know there's a book here, and we're trying to match the book, and we're kind of trying to not outpace it, but we know where this goes. So
See, I don't think this scene with Daenerys was stalling.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was either. So if there's more like this, even though not necessarily more of this, I don't need more of this exact type of scene, but more, playing to this dynamic more. And I am on board.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got some good stuff with Dany. We're finally seeing her kind of get knocked down off her high horse a little bit, and I think that's important. But then they talk about her at King's Landing, and they've got some real important things to say about her. And Tywin's just like, we'll deal with her. Well, she's just a little girl. And it's like, well, actually, she's got like two of the most crazy warriors, and as her advisors, and she's got this massive army, and she has dragons. They're baby dragons. Not anymore, dude. They're getting pretty big, and they're killing goats.
Oh, and also, what did you guys think about everybody listing off their titles in Dany's like 1,500 titles? Like, I am Daenerys Stormborn.
Dragonborn.
Mother of the
dragons.
She who cannot be burned.
Oh, well, let me tell you.
Defender of the realm.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
When
I was cosplaying Daenerys, I had to go through the books and look up all of those different titles so that I had them like at my disposal.
Well, now you have an episode of TV that you can go to.
That's true. Now I can just go to the television show.
And that just proves to me that Dany's always had this kind of air of like excellence about her. Like, I'm better than you.
Don't you think she has to though? If she wants to command people, she can't be like, oh, I'm so sweet and timid, but also fun.
No, she's got to have that strength, but she doesn't have to be so cocky while she does it.
Oh, I disagree.
I don't think she.
I think people follow the cocky warlords.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for a change.
Cocky.
Maybe.
So let's get to the dang trial already, huh? Because that's what this whole episode was about.
Well,
all right. So let's talk about the trial, Stevie says.
Yeah.
Some things to get us started. At Jazzy the Fangirl says, looks like it's Emmy time again for Peter Dinklage. Hashtag trial by combat. He was so good.
He just sat there and you could just see him like getting smaller and smaller and smaller and just like, I mean, the things that they were saying about him, it's like, this is insanity. It's just everyone's, I mean, it's lie after lie.
But no, I
funny.
didn't think it was. A lot of the stuff that they confessed were actual things that happened. They just spun the story in a way or omitted certain things.
But
to make Tyrion look really shitty.
Well, yeah, but a lot happened before we get to Shay.
Yeah, let's time out on Shay.
But it was interesting that they took all the things that made us love Tyrion and used it against him. Like all the things he did that were like, yeah, it's like, well, now it's kind of fucking him over. I also, it was interesting that, I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
Whoops.
Can I just say I hate the previously on Game of Thrones shit. I usually watch it on HBO Go, and last night I watched it at my folks' place, and there was like a previously on, and I swear to God, the thing was like 15 minutes long, and it was like, remember this, remember this, remember this. But it was like jumping around. I know, but it was like so incredibly hand-holdy that by the time a point happened in the episode that you should just fucking remember, and it happened, I was like, it ruined it. The preview ruined it for me.
Steve, not everyone has as solid of a memory as you do.
I'm not going to watch it on HBO anymore. I'm watching HBO.
And also, there might be new viewers that are tuning in.
There might be.
Why would they watch this episode? No one that's ever seen Game of Thrones watches this episode.
Maybe they just got HBO. Maybe they just got HBO.
Well, they're going to get everything they need about the show from that little...
snippet. You're going to get all the details.
Yeah, everything. All the intricacies of the characters and everything.
At Chili613 says, I was waiting for Tyrion to turn green and Hulk out at the end, like a mini Hulk.
Yeah, can I also say...
He was real mad.
I remembered what I was going to say. Can I also say that it's interesting that when they finally give a character you like this was a reminder this episode of how little Tyrion's had to do for like a season and a half. Like, he was basically the Ned replacement in season 2. And in season 3, he's been there, but he hasn't been given anything really to chew on. And this episode, he was given all the scenery to chew on. Like, he was actually able to, like, it was really about
moments.
him.
Peter Dinklage.
Moments, but he hasn't
shine.
had his, but he hasn't had, he's
like
kind
when
of
he
been,
did the original Trial by Battle or whatever the hell it was.
Trial by Combat.
Trial by Combat. That was a time to shine.
That was season 1, though.
For sure.
Season 1 and season 2. I'm saying like a season and a half since we've really
He's
gotten
had the spotlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
so
the Battle of Blackwater Bay was a good moment.
Yeah,
he's had his moments, but
Season 3 to most of this season,
Wildfire.
he's either been like a cuckold at King's Landing or in the dungeon. So now he's finally been given
a
something
little
to do.
frustrated. Okay, so here's a good question. At Bacchus the Lad says, do you think Tyrion made the right choice to both keep himself alive and get vengeance?
Yes. Yeah, because Tyrion's smart, man. The more you learn about Tyrion, the more you realize that he's probably the smartest character in the show. He's very good at defending himself in such a way that doesn't seem like blatant hate and disregard for intelligence and disregard for the point.
But you think that'll keep him alive?
Well, yeah, because, look, his dad is powerful enough to have had him killed way before this. But somehow Tyrion has managed to slip and slide his way around the hierarchy to survive, even though, as he said in the episode, my whole life I've been treated this way.
Well, I've been on trial for being a dwarf.
Yeah, my whole life.
That's a very. I mean, he's absolutely right about that. And I think I think the Trial by Combat is less about his survival and more about him flipping the script on his dad. His dad clearly had an agenda. True. His dad clearly had a plan. And Tyrion's finally like, no, this time you don't get this. You don't get to decide my fate. I get to decide my fate, so I will let my fate be decided by Trial by Combat. And
I just love him, like that boiling point of him just turning around to everybody and just saying, like, if I had the chance to poison you all, I would have done it. And if I could have poisoned Joffrey, I would have done it.
He snapped.
I mean, it was amazing. Just really, really amazing. Well acted, well written. Just fucking triumphant moment for him when he's just being beaten to a pulp that whole episode. Yeah. And then he got that moment to shine. It was just so good.
Which was all caused by Shay.
Oh, Shay, you dumb bitch.
At Direwolf At Direwolf Steak says, when Shay just betrayed him, I was crying, and it takes a lot for me to cry. And someone who agrees with Steve, at DVS Bastard, Davos Bastard, says, Shay's a bitch that a pimp didn't deserve.
Yeah, and I feel like that's my one problem with the Shay betrayal. Is I feel like what we're supposed to believe is that, well, Tyrion betrayed her first because he was like, I don't love you and you should go away and whatever. But the way it comes across is, oh, bitches be crazy. And it's like,
she's a woman scorned.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel like it. And it's not necessarily the show's fault, it's more of a cultural thing. But the response is that, oh, women, she betrayed him. Fuck that bitch. Whatever. She's a bitch. She's a cunt. She's a whatever. And I feel like there should have been.
I feel like that guy was a dick and an asshole.
I don't.
But I feel like it. I wish it had been. before this episode, a lot of book readers were like, "Oh, you think she loved him?" I mean, I think it's more ambiguous in the book. It is more ambiguous in the book,
That's
and
what I
now
was
in
gonna say.
hindsight, I kind of wish it had been more ambiguous in the show because I feel like
I agree.
it doesn't necessarily justify her betrayal.
Well, the thing is, in the book,
yeah,
it's
it's
more
not a character-
ambiguous
yeah.
because there's no chapters from Shay's point of view.
Yeah.
So you never get to know what's going on in her head. You only ever see her as Tyrion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more question marks. So I mean, when you're reading it and this comes out and this happens in the trial, it's a lot less woman scorned like it was in the show, and it's a lot more just like, oh, she was just in it for the money. Like you don't
'Cause
really
I feel
know,
like-
but you're like,
I feel like if instead of Shay, it had been Bronn, because we've clearly established that Bronn is about the money. Like it's and it would have been more understand. It would have been still shitty, and we all love Bronn. But it would have been understandable. And this, it just seems like, oh, she's being a cunt.
Well, it seems
and it's
like
that's I'm tired of shows eliciting that response from people.
Well, I think so from the writer's perspective, it seems like what they were trying to do with Shay as a character was to give Tyrion someone to kind of show his loving characteristics to, and show that he can actually love someone and care about someone. I don't know if it's like that in the books. Does it show that?
He definitely loves her.
Okay.
You know that.
So in the show, they're trying to convey that.
He definitely loves her.
So in the show, they're trying to convey that, but they're also trying to give you a character, a female character, that also, I don't know, you're right, it's kind of confusing, right? Because you're right, I'm sitting there watching that scene where Shay's confessing these lies, basically.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, okay, so Cersei's behind this. Like, Cersei threatened her or something, maybe. But then I was like, but when did that happen, and how could it have happened? When she didn't leave King's Landing.
When she was supposed to.
So it's like, yeah, she didn't leave when she was supposed to. She didn't leave at all, it seems. She's been there the whole time, so maybe Cersei talked to her.
Or
Cersei
maybe
knew.
Littlefinger.
But I mean, Cersei knew that Shay was with Tyrion. She saw her coming out of the room,
knew.
and she had her like, you know, she had her proof, basically.
And this is again where they used stuff that was actual truth about Tyrion. She's like, he made me call him my lion.
Yeah.
And like they're using truthful things to make Tyrion look like a piece of shit.
But I mean, I just sat there slightly confused because I was like, this is obviously Cersei doing this to Shay, but then maybe it wasn't, because it seemed like she was upset that Tyrion was like, I don't love you, get out of here, or whatever.
Yeah, it was very woman-scorned.
It just, it didn't make sense to me. So that, you're right, that could have been clearer for sure.
At Connor Bergman's liked the way they did it in the show better. He said, Shay testifying against Tyrion broke my heart a little bit. At least she had a reason in the show.
Well, there it is. Yeah, maybe.
Because he shoot her away.
Yeah, because he was
but as
pushed her away because he loved her.
I agree
but
with
pushed
you,
her
DJ.
away.
I feel like as a character, as the way they established her, it seemed completely out of character for her to be like, I'm instantly throwing you to the wolves now. Because if she felt anything for him, which the show insinuated she did, then I don't think it would have been that easy.
I think it likens back to when we first meet Shay on the show. I don't know if you remember when we first meet Shay, but she's very brazen and she's very independent and she's her own woman.
I think what might have functioned better is if instead of Tyrion getting a moment of shooing her away, if Tyrion had just sent Bronn to do it and didn't even confront her about it, and Bronn was like, look, he doesn't love you anymore, whatever, get on the boat. And she's like, do I even get to say goodbye? Nope, you're going on the boat. Then it's like, that feels like, that might justify it more, because it's more flippant. Like with the way it's a real emotion. Like I don't know. It feels like you should understand. You should understand. I mean, especially King's Landing. I mean, come on.
They might clarify later.
And who knows? Like she might have a really bad gun to her head.
Yeah, and maybe Tyrion gets to confront Shay at some point.
That would be great. There's a lot of ambiguities as you read the books that the TV show's been doing a really good job of like explaining further, which is kind of funny because you think like, oh, you read the book to get all the background detail that the show doesn't give, but the show is giving more background detail in some storylines than the book. So show people can spoil it for book people too.
So the episode ends with Tyrion saying, "I want to what it was
trial by combat." So what do you guys think? Let's see here. Let me see. Okay, at NLady95 says, I think Tyrion will call on Jaime for his champion.
I think so too.
They're so close obvious. They could have their own sitcom. And then one more at Roseart says, I cannot handle this. If Jaime ends up fighting Oberyn, I just cannot.
I feel like it would be best if Tyrion picked Jaime. And if it was
But
Jaime,
he's handless.
Right, but it's still like Tyrion believing in his brother.
Well, but you guys know when it's trial by combat, it's to the death.
Yep.
So if Tyrion picks Jaime and Jaime's all one-handed and can't fight well, we might have a different Lannister dying.
Yeah. Either way, it's some pretty compelling stuff. These
Definitely.
episodes, they just keep getting better and better. I really love this season. I can't wait to see what happens. Sunday is too long. Someone knock me the fuck out so I can go into a coma and wake back up on Sunday so I can figure this shit out now. But yeah, so that's it. Any other things you guys want to say?
Yes, I want to bring up real quick. At Kevin Lysander says the scenes with Varys this time around were really amazing. That conversation with Oberyn revealed much about the character.
See, and I've liked Varys, and that asshole, man. He betrayed Tyrion too.
Well, that's at Sarah.
I don't know if it's, but I mean, look, we've always known that Varys plays it very safe, extremely safe.
The spider.
And he's always been that way. And he might have slightly more tuned allegiances with Tyrion because he realizes how smart Tyrion is, which probably means...
Do you think he fucked Tyrion in that trial?
I don't know if it's... But I mean, look, he fucked him in a way that is safe for him.
It's always safe for Varys.
Which shouldn't be out of character and shouldn't be surprising.
That's not out of character.
Yeah, but still, like, fuck. I've always, like, since the end of season 1, it's like, Littlefinger's the evil one, Varys is the one that at least, like... You don't trust him, but at least he makes some sense. But what that has evolved into is, like, he tends to back the characters that you like.
Right, and I think
then he kind of
still
fucked one that we didn't like.
But I think he still does, because he admitted to him that he does remember everything, unfortunately, which was admitting to him that he did remember what he did at the Battle of Blackwater. But the thing is that Varys is right in front of the whole fucking court of everybody, including Tywin and Cersei.
Varys got to look out for Varys.
He's got to look out for himself. But not only that, I have a feeling that Varys knows Tyrion is going to find a way out of it.
You're very...
I think, because Varys is smart too. Yeah. Littlefinger, Varys, and Tyrion are the smartest characters in the whole show.
That's probably true.
Hands down. I think they know what they're doing. I think it's a big game for them, and I think they know how to play
being
it.
Close.
Yeah.
The Tyrell women.
There's a lot of smart people in Westeros.
But I mean, I think the smartest are the ones that are actually playing the game correctly.
The Game of Thrones!
Thrones, Game of Thrones.
I love it. All right, so let us know in the comments down below what you guys thought of last night's episode. If there's anything we didn't bring up that you'd like people to discuss, put that down there too. Maybe a little Theon Reek action, stuff like that.
Before we go, we have to bring in our resident Game of Thrones expert, William Haynes. Will's opinions on each episode is very important to us.
Very important.
And I think we need to include his segment on what Will thought about the episode now.
Sit down.
Will.
This episode was a blast. Now, King Ramsay is notorious for having too much on his plate. He told Jon Snow in this episode that if you don't get Khaleesi's to enter the Vortex of Doom, I can't bring back the Sword of Garthro. The Sword of Garthro, we all know, is the most powerful sword in the entire Game of Thrones universe. Yeah. George R.R. Martin actually came up with the idea after reading the 3rd book of Daenerys.
That's fascinating.
What did you think about the trial?
The trial was completely shammed. Completely shammed.
Okay.
Why?
Was it like the book? Did you read the books?
In this part of the book, I got really bored. You know how sometimes you read and you just read the same part over and over and over again? I'm pretty sure that during this episode, bad stuff happened.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was definitely when the Queen of the Dinosaurs battled the Queen of the Dragons against the Orange Walkers. The Orange Walkers came back. I thought in the last episode that they all died because of that whiteout that Jon Snow brought, but they're back.
Wow.
Can I tell you, I would watch the fuck out of that.
Me too.
The Queen of the Dinosaurs.
The Queen of the Dinosaurs might be my favorite.
That's just my opinion on it.
Thank you, Will, for sharing.
Really appreciate it, man.
Jon Snow, man.
Thank you very much, Will.
Jon Snow wasn't even in this. It's the best part. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Click like and subscribe. Click on the annotation for other things. I'm Steve Zaragoza, a.k.a. Ancient Aliens Guy.
I'm Trisha Hershberger, Success Kid.
And I'm DJ Woolridge, and I am apparently Confession Bear.
Happy Meme Day!
Happy Meme Day! See you next week. Tweet us #TVShowShow.